Reality is actually being controlled, is what I would say. People have to seek truth.
All right. So today's topic is a really interesting one, and it really brings out the seeker in me, right? Because we're going to talk about why it is so hard to believe in the concept of UFOs or aliens, their presence, their visits to Earth, and all the good stuff. Okay. So yeah, why are the UFOs so hard to believe? Why is that concept so foreign and it's not easily acceptable by us?
Yeah, it's literally an alien topic,
Right.
something which we are not used to.
Mm-hmm.
So anything which is new, our brain always tries to say, okay, no, that's not, I'm not going to accept it. So that is in general where, like, anytime you want to go against a mainstream narrative,
Mm-hmm.
it's always going to be very hard. Say, you don't want to be labeled as the crazy person, right?
Right.
Or the conspiracy theorist, or we have a lot of labels for people who kind of believe these kind of topics. So this is why this topic has been kind of pushed in a more fringe side of things, and not hasn't had
Mm-hmm.
an attention it deserves to get into mainstream.
Things have been happening for a long time, right? All these weird things, all these abnormal things has been happening for a long time, like cattle mutilations, human abductions, or people seeing some light out in the sky. This is not just now, like hundreds of years ago too. Even though things are happening, our human brain doesn't accept that as part of the reality.
Yeah.
It just wants to ignore it,
Yeah.
right? And Sigma is obviously one of the main reasons. Um, what are the how is the media portraying this? Like, what's the role of social media or the government in the belief system of UFOs?
That's its own topic, is what I would say. Again, because government doesn't have any obligation to tell the truth, right? So their main role is to have stability in the society and security. That's the main agenda they have. So any information which can or which has any potential to disrupt any social economical situation, they don't want that to be a normal thing to be out there, right?
Mhm.
So that's why yeah, again, we all know, okay, media is generally under quite a bit of control, even though we say, okay, media is all free and stuff, but yeah, we all know that. So yeah, it's even the recent thing which happened with the Arrow report.
Mhm.
It was entirely controlled, right? Where the kind of people or the kind of news channel who had the access for the recent UFO report, which was delivered, it wasn't done in a very open way, and every media outlet out there said exactly the same thing what they wanted to be heard. So it's like they said, like, there is nothing out here, just everyone go about your everyday job.
Mhm.
There is nothing to see here. So that's how they dismiss. But this has been a historic thing, right? Like, so it's not like the first time. Say, anytime
Mhm.
people go out of what's understood as a mainstream subject, it's always people have faced a lot of friction. For example, there was a time when farmers were talking about, oh yeah, I saw some rocks falling from the sky.
Mhm.
Okay. People are dismissing, like, how can a rock just like fall from the sky, right? It's crazy.
Mhm.
It sounds like a crazy thing to observe. But only later, during the time, we realize, okay, yeah, there is something called meteorites. Okay, these things actually fall to Earth, and
Mhm.
that's what these rocks were people are seeing. And even take these other stuff, like we call this exoplanets, right?
Mhm.
So just to say how narrow sometimes a mainstream academia can be. So people were thinking, when I say people, the
Mhm.
mainstream science, the accepted belief was only uh, planets existed only in our solar system.
Right. Right. Yeah.
So we know, like, it's like a very laughable thing now, but not long ago, within our lifetime, like, say, just only in early 90s,
Mhm.
that's when exoplanets were discovered. Exoplanets are planets which are not part of our solar system. which are discovered outside of our solar system, which means like there are, because we know like the universe is quite huge, right? Where we have so many other planets and things which can exist.
Right. So you're saying with the advancement of technology and the seeking of the truth is going to help discover more and more, and maybe sometime in the near future, UFOs is not a taboo topic anymore, probably.
Yeah.
Right. That's a good example of exoplanets being discovered only recently, right? So what are the I recently heard something about Elon Musk talking about universe, aliens, about like how we could be the only beings in all of universe. Do you have any stuff on that?
When you think about the question of where are the aliens, which I get asked a lot, this is like the Fermi paradox. Where are the aliens? And I've not seen any evidence that there are aliens on Earth. A lot of people think there are aliens on Earth, and I'm like, great, I'd like to meet one. You know, for a while there, when I was getting my green card and everything, it said alien registration card. I'm like, okay. But this question of where are the aliens is, I think, a very profound one, because I'm aware of no evidence of aliens whatsoever, which means that I think we're probably alone.
Yeah, I saw that video. It's like, it feels too egoistic and too narcissistic to just claim that we are the only life around this universe. It's like, universe is so vast. The kind of numbers which comes out, it's like incomprehensible, right? Say, one of the things people often say is where if you take the number of grains of sand in all the beaches in all the entire world and count each grain of sand, the number of stars we have is like way greater than this. So which means like, yeah, and you can think of each star has its own planet system.
Right.
And yeah, you can multiply the number of possible life forms which can be there, and why it should be like, why we should be so special. Okay, we all have been hearing, okay, from my mom, each of their mom, okay, you are the special, but universe, there is no obligation for the universe to keep us special, right? Like, why, even within our Earth, right? Like, there is so many other different life forms. Okay, as such, like, we are saying, okay, we think that we are the apex predators. Maybe that's the thing which might be going under question, right? So what Elon Musk was typically was looking for is, like he was mentioning about Fermi's paradox, which is nothing but, say, if the universe is so vast and large, why don't we see aliens around us? Where is everyone? That's a question he was asking.
Sure, where is everyone?
Yeah, where is everyone, right? So, which again, I would put that in the other side, where we are having observational evidences. Say, you go to any kind of a court case, right? So think of someone defending or someone trying to have an eyewitness. Say someone murdered someone. An eyewitness is really a very high, reliable form of evidence which can be applicable in court. But this doesn't work out in science. That's a kind of a problem we have. So even though we have numerous eyewitnesses, numerous observational evidences, which are there, but yeah, that's the problem people have. But the other issue is, okay, how much of actual data mainstream science have actually tried to capture, right? So you can't just say, okay, no, there is nothing without you attempting to look at something.
True, and I understand that, right? I think the main problem here is the observational evidence that you mentioned. In the case of UFOs or aliens, the evidence is not coming from what we consider the standard. In, like, maybe say NASA for US or ISRO for India, for example. These evidences are not coming from like a standard source. These are coming from some guy who's leaking the video. And then later down the line, the government say, yes, that's the right video or whatever, right? This is kind of giving like a very difficult scenario for people to like believe it right away. If NASA says they launched a $10 billion space telescope and they show it, they just do a live stream of it, it's easy to believe. But this news, like alien life forms or UFOs, it is never coming from a credible source that people consider as a standard source. Why is that then?
Yeah, That's a problem. That's exactly the problem we have, where there is a bit of a control in terms of reality.
Mhm.
Reality is actually being controlled, is what I would say. Reality is not really open. That's why people have to seek information for themselves. And I never would suggest anyone to just believe everything they hear and say. So people have to seek truth, but not everyone is going to take that effort. So that's a problem we have. So a lot of evidences through official channels is actually available. So
Okay.
even in one of our, I think, recent YouTube video, we have shown actual UFO pictures and evidences taken directly from US National Archives. So there are like multiple evidences which are there. You have to seek for it. Nobody's going to come and give you on a platter. Because people don't want to people to hear this. So that's the other problem, right? Where say people easily like how a couch scientist or a philosopher kind of a person just sitting in the couch and saying no, there's no evidence for any of this, and saying dismissing. So that's the difference. Being skeptic is important. It's good.
Right.
You have to be skeptic. You can't just believe everything anyone puts up to you, right? But just dismissing an observational evidence of so many people and so many events is literally, you should call yourself as a dismisser. So, or a lazy person is what I would say. Skepticism is different from dismissal. So what we are seeing with a lot of mainstream science at the moment, it's also because of the kind of support people have, because it's very difficult even for say a professor or like some new student like who's doing a PhD on UFO. You can't just go to your professor and say, oh yeah, I'm gonna do my research on UFOs.
Right.
You will be
Right.
just like shunned away, and then
Yeah.
like, you're not gonna get the funding which is needed for that. But it's luckily we have now projects like Soul Foundation, led by Gary Nolan from Stanford University, and Project Galileo by Avi Loeb,
Okay.
Avi Loeb from Harvard. So yeah, these people have been trying to kind of push mainstream science towards UFO topics. So it is happening. It is happening slowly, but that's a problem. They don't get enough support, and people have to look for themselves to really observe.
Okay, that's nice to know. Yeah, it would be really useful if this subject is made part of the academia, so that people can learn without the fear of being called out as weirdo or as abnormal or whatever it is, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like say, even if you remember, right, like Copernicus time, people were always under this model before that, where oh yeah, everything was revolving around Earth. Like there was a time where people thought the sun was revolving around Earth. We were the center of the universe.
Right.
So it's like you see this pattern, right? Often we were having a very much of an arrogant viewpoint of thinking we are the center of everything. And too often, even when you are born as a kid, right? Like we all grow as like, oh yeah, we see that, okay, we are the center of everything. But then like we realize there's a
Yeah.
theory of mind. Okay, the world still exists, even though, okay, you don't think about it.
Right. Right.
So it's in the same way, and yeah, Galileo added more to it. But if you think, right, like they were almost killed by mainstream people, like because they were going against the mainstream narrative.
Right.
So
Right.
people don't
And
think that.
and they thought Earth was round, but Earth is flat.
There is, yeah, no, I think, yeah, that's like, let's not go to that.
The universe is extremely big, right? So we live in a galaxy, the Milky Way galaxy, and we know that it is like huge. The solar system is like a minutest particle in the Milky Way galaxy. And like the Milky Way galaxy, there are like tons of galaxies near us and far away from us. So the distance between these galaxies, like it's way far, like too far away from each other. Is this also contributing to the fact that communication between other worlds or visits from other worlds is not that frequent or not that easily achievable? And that mindset is going to tell you that, okay, nobody's going to come visit you. There is no one on the other side of the fence, right? How do you think the distance or the vastness of the universe itself is affecting the mindset of the people?
Yeah. That's right. Like, so one of the main reason, or like one of the main obstacle in terms of thinking people have is the vastness of the universe, and like each of this solar system, or like each of these galaxies, or like everything, all these stars are separated by vast distances. Even the nearest star is like few light years away, right?
Right.
Where, like, uh, so even if you are gonna travel at the speed of light, which we don't have such technology, which is the fastest you could ever go, right?
Right.
Like, so speed of light, and even if you do go at that speed, it's not easy for you to just go and visit multiple places. First thing is the fact where we can't go and reach that point. So we think in our perspective, right? So, okay, yeah, how when people at some point clearly said, okay, it's impossible for humans to ever fly.
Right.
You know that there was a time when people said, like, it's never going to happen. Humans will never fly. And this was I forgot the person's name, but this was a statement made by someone who is part of the Royal Institute or Society of Science,
Okay.
where who's supposed to be the lead person of taking what is an acceptable science and stuff. So someone saying that, and then 5 years later, Wright brothers. I think this should ring a bell pretty close, because like we live quite close by where this thing happened. But yeah, point is, Wright brothers, so they proved it wrong, right? Like they showed, and now flying is something which is like a normal thing to people. So in the same way, again, our knowledge says, okay, something is not possible, but we have been wrong so many times, and we don't know. There are like other forms of maybe technology which other species might have discovered, which we may not know. Right? Maybe you don't have to travel space.
Okay.
Maybe there is like some kind of a wormhole kind of a thing where like people can go through space, and maybe there are some shortcuts. We don't know. Right? We cannot dismiss, is what I'm trying to say. Just because, okay, we think something isn't possible, we cannot dismiss the observational data which we are having here, which says, okay, there is like some non-human intelligence which is around us. So that's a part. Like, so historically we have been like so many times humbled, right? Like, so there was one time where specifically people said, oh yeah, we have figured out everything about physics.
Okay.
It's like such a arrogant statement again, right? Oh yeah, there is all that has to be discovered, we have already discovered. There is nothing more to be done. And then came quantum physics.
Right.
People found out quantum physics, and which kind of broke
It's
the
a whole new book that people missed to read.
whole new thing we found, and then we realized we didn't know.
Right.
So that's a part, right? So the more we understand our universe, the more we realize we know nothing.
Exactly. It only get deeper.
Yeah. So,
and that's I think that's the beauty about science, right? Science is like you keep learning, keep learning. There's no end to it.
Yeah.
Right. So it's really interesting that somebody said, like, I think the scientist itself said that there is nothing more to learn in physics. See, that just shows how narrow or how short visioned some people's mindset is. Right?
Yeah, that's another reason, right? Like, why if we go back, why mainstream academia people sometimes are reluctant to get into this topic also is where it can just like make them feel, okay, did I waste my whole lifetime on something where I could have learned directly from another thing? So yeah, sometimes people's ego comes into play. So that is also one other thing. So it's a lot of factors. It's not just like it's cultural. It's also human emotion. So everything adds up. So intelligence doesn't mean like you knowing information. Intelligence is the ability to adapt to situations when new evidences are being presented.
Well said. Yes, I agree to that.
Yeah. So in fact, like say a lot of people may think things which we feel intuitive is what we understand the most.
Right.
It's often not the case. Say the best example I would give is say you know about the standard model of physics, right? So one of the thing is we have these 4 fundamental forces, which is you would have heard about electromagnetic force, nuclear, strong, weak force. And then the last one is gravity. So out of this four, the three electromagnetic, okay, that's how what is electricity and light and everything which we use. Nuclear strong weak is what we observe in our nuclear fission, fusion, all these kind of things, and the way interaction happens inside a nucleus, all those things. But we think, okay, these things are more complex and stuff, right? But these are well understood and well established. We know quite a bit about this. Gravity, you think like we should have figured that out quite well, right? Because we feel it every time.
Yeah.
If not for gravity, we both may not be sitting.
Right. Gravity is the reason that that's my weighing scale is showing bigger number. It's not me.
Yeah, it's definitely not you.
But gravity is like, it's what you're trying to say is gravity is not even well understood yet.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah, and that's the most fascinating thing. And in fact, like I would argue, a lot of these things could be related to that too. The part where gravity and as well as the quantum physics, like there is like some more set of unknowns which people are still trying to figure out. That's where like a lot of these travel distances and things might get answered too. So yeah, in fact, gravity at large distances at the moment can be a repulsive force too. So we think like gravity is always an attraction.
Right.
So it could be a repulsive force too. So, and yeah, it's maybe all these forces is still the same in a more fundamental way. Maybe we haven't understood that yet. So I still feel like the standard model, maybe there is more to understand still. Again, I'm not I'm not a traditional physicist, but at least from what I understand, I feel like we're still missing a lot on that.